What's going on, guys? Today in the gym, we're doing some of our tips and tricks. And last time we did a bit of a longer format. Really great feedback. A lot of people loved it. And in the comments, you put in some requests for other stuff that you wanted to see. So here we go. Let's jump into it. First off, we're going to be talking about deadlifting. Deadlifting when I was competing wasn't really a strong suit for me, just because I had deadlifted one way for so long through my weightlifting career. I always just called it like a clean style deadlift. So just a deadlift that looks like the first half of a clean. So when I would come up to the bar, I could make sure I could see my shoelaces on the far side of the bar, but there is a bit of a gap in between my shin and the bar here. And then I would close that gap by tracking my knees forward until they touch the bar, and then I would lift from there. This is a very quad dominant style deadlift. You know, you got small, I don't want to say an arch, but like a sway in your back. My coach always called it a duck butt, of just setting your back in that position that you do for the Olympic lifts. But then as I pressed up, I would stay over the bar a lot more, just like in a clean, and that's just how I deadlifted. I worked on trying to shift it a little bit, but it was one of those things that the 1 rep max deadlifts come up so rarely. I was never really willing to take that 1 step backwards to take 2 steps forwards, just because I always had a competition I was prepping for and getting ready for. But now I have a lot more free time in the gym on my hands. So now trying to deadlift more like a proper style deadlift, like an actual power lifter. Biggest difference for me is shins stay vertical. So when I'm walking up to the bar, I'm not leaving a gap between my shins. I'm getting right up to it. And then when I set up, I'm focusing on keeping my shins vertical and my shoulders behind the bar. So we're on a clean deadlift. I have a bit of a gap. My chest is over the bar like this. Let's just call it a powerlifting deadlift. I'm setting up, shins vertical, staying behind the bar a lot more. And then when I come up, I can feel a lot more glute and hamstring activation. So I've been playing with that over the last couple months and really enjoying it. And it's one of those things I'm like, oh, I feel like how everyone else used to look. Like I used to watch everyone else deadlift and you're like, man, they're doing something different and I can't quite put my finger on it. Next big thing is deciphering when to use each type of technique, and then also the difference between training your deadlift to get better at deadlifting or training your deadlift to get faster or more efficient, or if you're in a Metcon, just trying to get it done as quickly as possible. In CrossFit, you know, there's touch and goes are allowed. They're kind of a necessary evil of if you're competing. If you want to compete, you have to be doing touch and goes. So I don't look at that. I look at that as getting better for a Metcon or going faster, you know, getting the work done quicker. When I'm in the gym trying to actually increase the weight of my deadlift or my deadlift strength, big thing, CrossFit, come up, and then it's almost like a free fall, and you're catching that bounce. You're never letting go. You're never letting go of the tension. It's a very fast negative on the way down. You're catching the bounce of the bumpers, the stretch reflex on the way up. Now when I'm training, it is every rep is an individual rep. Set up, pull, and then controlled on the way down, and then it's like release the tension, reset, and then go again. Day and night difference. I know for myself, you know, knocking out a couple sets at 405, if I'm doing them touch and go or as individual reps each one, the end result is wildly different. The 405s from the dead stop are a completely different bag of apples. So last piece is in a Metcon or in a workout or in a competition, deciding I'm not going to deadlift 95 pounds in a Metcon the same way I'm going to deadlift 405. There's always deciding what's faster, what's going to allow me more endurance, what's going to, you know, hold up better. For myself, I'm just so quad dominant that if in a Metcon, it's a really light weight. So say 225 or under, I'm catching that bounce, but I'm keeping my chest over the bar. I'm relying on my strengths of just, I know my quads have great endurance. I know I can put them through hell and they're going to hold up. So I rely on them a lot. If I have 405 in the bar, I'm going to try to deadlift a lot more efficiently so that, you know, every rep is going to look the same and I can just stretch out that effort longer. So if the weight's heavier, I'm going to rely more on a proper deadlift technique of, you know, vertical shins, staying behind the bar, using the right muscle groups. Know that there's a big difference between training your deadlift to get faster or in a Metcon or how you're going to utilize that movement, or training to get stronger. Big difference. All right, guys, one of the other movements that was requested was wall balls. One of my favorite movements. Anytime these came up in workouts, competitions, I loved it. Very simple movement. There's really two standards. You got to hold the ball, but then hip crease below your knee when you're in the bottom of the squat here, and then the center of the ball just has to hit the 10-foot target. Pretty simple. You catch it, cycle it. They're like super, super light thrusters. So whenever I'm holding the ball, I keep my hands close. I'm pointing my wrists towards each other, thumbs towards me, and I'm trying to get my hands underneath the ball, and I'm trying to keep my forearms vertical so they're like pillars underneath. Maybe one of you guys can explain it to me. When people grab the ball and they're holding it on the outside, like just picture somebody hands you a wall ball and says you have to hold this for 20 minutes. Are you grabbing it like this on the outside and squeezing your chest the entire time? Or are you gonna put your hands underneath it and lean it against your face? To me, it's like it's easier, so that's what I'm gonna do. I see a lot of people grab the ball, they're squeezing it from the outside, and then they're bringing it down to their chest. And for me, I was like, no, I wanna get my elbows underneath the ball, and there's no standard on where the ball has to sit on your body. So I would literally catch it like this, let it hit my chin. Sometimes it rocks your nose every once in a while, but it just made the movement that much easier. And I just felt it gave a better stable position so that when you're coming up, you should be driving with your legs. All the force for the ball going to the target is coming from your legs. It's just like a thruster. I always thought of my hands as I released it as my hands are just guiding it. They're not adding any more force to it. They're just guiding the balls, like that last second finesse, anything like that. That's where I'm doing it. My hands underneath the ball, make a tripod with it, and then just classic squat, your feet, toes out a tiny bit, just wherever you back squat. I always look at if you're doing a max height box jump, where are you putting your feet? That's all we're trying to do here is we're trying to jump really, really high, but we have a 20-pound ball that's gonna take all the force. So as I'm coming down, whoop, there we go, all right. So I'm really trying to use my arms as little as possible. I want to keep that ball in tight to my body so that all the force my legs are generating is then transferring into the ball. Last piece, timing of the wall balls. I'm going to change it depending on what the workout is, how long it is. You know, are the wall balls the quick, easy part, or the wall balls in a workout like Karen, where it's like, you know, I'm doing these for a while. I'm going to change up my timing as I go through the two. If I need to catch my breath on the wall ball, if I need to slow down my cadence, buy myself some time, get my heart rate down, I'm going to launch the ball, hands right back here, and then I'm gonna wait for the ball up high. I'm gonna try to meet it so I can blend the two together when I catch it and guide it down so it's not rocking me here and then starting the next rep. It's just gonna allow a little bit longer per rep, quarter second, half second per rep, but it adds up. If, say I'm doing, you know, there's a set of 20 wall balls and it's just like, hey, you're hitting it once, then moving on, I might get cursed out for this, but I dive back down. I launch the ball, get right back into my catch position, and then like I'm basically here when I'm receiving the ball. The ball's gonna free fall down. It destroys your quads because you're getting that eccentric. You're bracing, and then as soon as your quad is flexed, then it's elongating. So it's like, be prepared, your quads are gonna be a little bit sore. But if you're trying to buy yourself an extra couple seconds, it's a way to do it. So I hear it a lot, people asking like, what do I do with my hands in between reps? You see a lot of different techniques. I think the beginner is you launch it, you keep your arms up high. It's gonna allow you to meet the bar a foot or two earlier and kind of guide it back into position. But I think once people are comfortable with it, everyone's bringing their hands back down. You'll see some people do like the big whip, they release the ball, a big wave, come back down. For me, I like to keep it as simple as possible. The less you move, the less energy you're burning. So for me, I launch it and then my elbows right back down. This is all my arms are doing, up and down. So I mean, if it works for you, do it. I wouldn't recommend it. You're adding in another lift in between. Might make a difference to someone, maybe not. I like just the less you move, the less energy you're burning. So you launch the ball, boom, elbows right back down to rib cage, you get those hands in that catch position, ready to go. When it comes to set sizes, it's gonna depend so much person to person. It's gonna depend so much on what the workout is, what the weight is, where the wall balls are in the workout. But I think wall balls, I look at them as one of the movements that it's like, if I ever find myself like, should I go unbroken? Should I break it up? Go to breaking it up. It's a very low investment move to, you know, add in a break. It's not like you're doing shoulder to overheads and then, you know, it's like a 225 shoulder overhead. It's like, all right, if I drop it, I have to do another power clean. it's a 14 or a 20-pound ball, you know, at worst it's a 30. So I always looked at like, you know, just letting go, letting it hit the floor, being honest with yourself, like, all right, 3 deep breaths, and then I'm getting right back into it. And then you can squat clean that first rep. You know, a break is maybe costing you a second, 2, but I think if you add in that break, release that tension for a couple seconds, then you can increase your cycle rate enough if the sets are big enough, and you can buy that time back pretty quickly. All right, guys, last tip that we're going over is the SkiErg. From the HYROX video, got a lot of comments on my technique and how I was doing my SkiErg intervals. We'll jump into that in a sec. So this is a SkiErg. Typically, what you want to see or what you want to do, I always think you want to be pulling, always pulling, never pushing. It sounds simple, but I'll show you what I mean here in a sec. Grab the handles. For myself, I always think about like knuckles staying close to my head and elbows staying down. So, you know, I'm not giving myself a noogie, but my arms are not locked out. I'm keeping that lever nice and short, popping the hips back. SkiErg is like so much lat. Just always driving that elbow down to your hip, pull, pull. Typically in CrossFit, what you'll see is a big hip hinge and a really powerful pull. So let's come down, hands near the head. I'm leading with the hips back, really engaging the core. Then I'm driving my elbows down. And then kind of the same as the wall balls, like I'm not really doing a tricep extension on this. If you're doing a tricep extension every rep, it's going to burn you out. So it's just kind of with the follow through. Another thing too, if you look at how the machine is made, you're getting distance by pulling the rope, duh. But play with it. You see a lot of people as they come down, they'll follow through and kick their arms back. Well, here, just pinch the cord. So it's like the last couple inches of everyone's stroke, they're not actually contributing to spinning the fan. So stop it. Keep the handles in front of you, extend all the way down. Common mistakes that I see are people way too wide. Their arms are out here like a big Y. As they're pulling, you're gonna roast your shoulders, roast your lats. And then the big one that I see is people pushing. So they'll start here, their arms extend first, and then they're pushing the handles down. It's tough for me to do it. But so that's what I mean by always be pulling, never pushing. All the comments I got from the HYROX video on the SkiErg were this technique, really short, fast strokes. So it was in my retirement, the guy who designed the SkiErg, so Concept 2 is a Vermont company, they're about an hour away from here, and they came over to kind of just give us a demo and try to help us out. And the guy who made the SkiErg was like, yo, what are you CrossFitters doing? You're all doing it wrong. And he was saying, he was like, keep your chest upright and cheek to cheek. So we're going from cheek to butt cheek, boom, and just really fast cycle rate, keeping the chest upright. So no big exaggerated hinge, no reaching over the head. I probably had the same thoughts everyone here is having when I first got told, like, that looks terrible, that looks wrong. But then watching this guy, he was pulling numbers on here that I've never seen before, and it looked effortless. Of all the machines, SkiErg is my absolute worst one. It was notoriously through my career. So I'd probably settle it down a little bit, probably like 70 strokes per minute, but I was pulling a 135 there. And it was pretty, not effortless, but I can sustain that for a good chunk of time. You're just doing twice as many strokes, half as much bite. It's so easy. So I really like falling back on that technique when you're out of breath. When I need a break, I treat it the same way as the rower. Of like, hey, if I'm getting on there, my legs are shot, I'm gonna put the damper way low, fall back on the RPMs to produce the wattage, and then as soon as I feel like I have my breath back, I can click that damper up, get a bit more bite per pull. Straight from the horse's mouth, the designer of the SkiErg at Concept 2 was saying like cheek to cheek, but he was saying like, no, your hands and hips come up at the same time. And the classic technique of the big pull, the big hinge, it's always a step up, bounce, and then back up. And he was saying, nope, hands and hips up at the same time as you go every rep. So once again, you're not gonna win a race of 100 meters just because of that. But if you have a 1K or a 5K thrown into the middle of a long chipper or something, that quarter second, that half second per stroke is going to add up. Play with it. I still don't use the cheek-to-cheek technique exclusively. I put it in where I feel it's appropriate or beneficial or advantageous. There are times when I still want those big pulls. I want to slow down my cycle rate so I can grab a breath in between. But yeah, play with it. See, throw it into workouts every once in a while. I like doing EMOMs where it's like I alternate. Every time I hit the SkiErg one time, I'll do like my classic long, big hinging pull. And then the next round, I'll do the cheek to cheek, really fast stroke rate. Usually with the cheek to cheek, I'm looking at 70 to 75 strokes per minute. But then you have data points. You can see when I'm fresh, which one's better, which one's more powerful, which one is gonna get me there faster. And then 20 minutes into your 40-minute EMOM, you're like, oh, okay, now the shorter strokes are starting to feel better. So you can kind of see your paces trading off a little bit. See what you like. Even if you don't like it, maybe you can grab a piece of it and put it into your old stroke and you're better for it. Getting started, your first pull on the SkiErg, I treat it almost identically to the rower. It's the same fan, same computer, same mechanics, and it's like a bit of a computer hack. Once again, this was given me by people that are way smarter than me. I think it was the rowing coach at Cornell told me this. He was like, your first pull should be as powerful and as long as possible, like from bottom out the ropes if you can. And then before you go into your next one, just do a quick arm one. So on the rower, it's a big long pull, and then even before you recoil your hips, you're just doing a quick arm pull. So it's gonna put your stroke rate to like 80 or 90, but it's a hack for the computer to get that number down, get your first calorie really quickly. So I do the same thing on this. It's the same machine, just stood upright with different handles. So what I'll do is I just use my body weight, fall back, get it as low as I can, usually till it bottoms out, and then just another quick arm pull, and then I'll get into my regular cadence. All right, so I want to talk to you guys a little bit, touch on some mindset stuff. I'd say specifically when it comes to really chasing after a goal, something that's really brand new, like you're a beginner, there's going to be uncertainty. You're not going to do everything right. Perfection is a myth, so get that out of your mind. But I think people run away from the mental discomfort in the sense of like the uncertainty. Like uncertainty, the unknown is what drives fear, and then fear drives anger. When I was early on, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know if I was doing it right, wrong, if I was doing myself a disservice or whatever. Leading into a competition, I was a ball of nerves every year. Even going into 2020, my final year, I was a ball of nerves because you're sticking your neck out there. You're making yourself vulnerable and you have no control over the situation. You don't know what's going to get thrown at you. You don't know if you're about to win and make history or lose and embarrass yourself in front of a lot of people. And I've seen athletes deal with this. I've seen athletes, some thrive, some struggle with it, of just you're in the gym by yourself and you're watching your competitors, you're listening to all the voices, and it's like, it's okay to be insecure. It's okay to be scared. Don't let those emotions change your actions. I always had a tough time with this of like, you know, you get the tough guy that's, oh, I'm not scared. Bullshit. It's either you're lying or you're dumb. Like there's no in between. For me, I was always so open with it. I'm like, no, I'm scared shitless. And then people would be like, poke jokes, I'll save the words. But to me, it was just, I was like, no, you fucking idiots. Like just because I'm scared doesn't mean I'm not gonna kick your ass. It doesn't mean I'm not gonna go down fighting. It was just so bananas. I'm like, wait, if you guys get scared, do you stop? It's okay to be scared. It's okay to have uncertainties. For myself, I found comfort in my home life. A week before the games, Sammy would, like, when we first started dating, it was like me going to her like a week or two before the game, like, are you gonna love me still? Like if I don't win, like if it goes wrong, like, you know, I wanted that reassurance because I knew in 20 years time, when am I gonna care more about? My time on the competition field or the time with my life partner? I knew which one was going to matter more over the long haul. And then after the first year or two, you know, I didn't have to ask her anymore. She knew, she could tell when I was feeling insecure or scared or nervous and whatever. And she would just remind me like, hey, I love you no matter what. I love you no matter the results. Like, go do your thing. For me, my recommendation would be like, find that comfort. Find something that it's like, yo, even if my day of training went absolute shit, it was terrible, you get injured. What are you doing when you get home? What's that thing that's building you back up? And just rely on that. Know that that's gonna be there. Yeah, go roll the dice. Go put your chips into the middle of the table when you're training or competing and like, take that chance. But then have that certainty, that thing that gives you that confidence when you come back. I just can't say it enough times or enough ways of like, It's okay to be insecure. It's okay to be scared. What people are seeing is your reaction to those emotions. And I try to never let fear or anger or any nerves change what I was doing. It changed how I thought about it. But yeah, even though, 5 minutes earlier, my head's in O'Keefe's chest and I'm just crying. I'm just fucking scared in the warm-up area. And then he just gives me a pat on the ass and says, go get him. And it's like, okay, yeah, like it doesn't, it's gonna be, it's the same event whether I'm treating it like I'm nervous about it or not. So get after it. Keep chugging forward. Why would you stop here? You're not happy here? Keep fucking going. All right, guys, that's it for today. We got 3 workout tips and a little mindset chat. I love doing stuff like this. Hopefully you enjoy it. Play with the different stuff. Take what you like, leave what you don't. Put in the comments what you want to see next time. If you enjoy this type of stuff, put in what movements you want tips on, mindset questions, just questions in general. I love doing this stuff. So until next time.